This is number seven podcast.
Number 7 podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the number 7 podcast channel. Ever feel like you're just spinning your wheels?
Yeah.
Like trying to do a million things at once, but not really getting anywhere?
Oh, for sure.
What if I told you there's a better way?
Okay, I'm listening.
A way to unlock extraordinary results by focusing on just one thing.
That's the intriguing premise of Gary Keller's book, The One Thing.
So he's basically saying to forget that mile-long to-do list
Exactly.
and just zoom in on that one crucial task.
It's all about prioritizing what truly matters.
Sounds almost too simple to be true.
Right.
So how does he convince us?
Well, he starts by calling out those common success myths.
You know, those sneaky lies that hold us back.
The ones we've all heard a million times.
Yeah.
Like the frog in boiling water slowly being cooked a lie.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
Turns out it's a complete myth.
Really?
Frogs aren't that oblivious.
So he's debunking those myths.
He identifies 6 major culprits.
Okay, lay them on me.
First, the belief that everything matters equally.
Okay.
And second, the illusion of effective multitasking.
We all think we're good at that.
And third, the pressure to be a disciplined person.
I feel that one.
Fourth, the misconception that willpower is always available.
Ugh, if only.
Fifth, the relentless pursuit of a perfectly balanced life. Finally, the fear that thinking big is inherently bad.
Whoa. That's a lot to unpack.
It is.
No wonder we feel overwhelmed sometimes.
Exactly.
So how do we break free from these limiting beliefs?
He encourages us to unclench.
Unclench.
To let go of that pressure to do it all.
Ah, I see.
Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, he says we need to define our purpose.
Makes sense.
Then identify our top priority.
Got it.
And focus our energy on that one thing.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Right.
But how do we know which tasks deserve our laser focus?
It's tough. Everything feels important.
Exactly.
That's where Pareto's principle comes in.
Pareto's principle.
You might know it as the 80-20 rule.
Okay, name me.
It states that roughly 80% of your results stem from just 20% of your efforts.
So it's all about identifying that crucial 20%.
And pouring your energy into it.
Got it.
Think about Google.
Okay.
They started by focusing intensely on one thing. Search.
Ah, so that singular focus allowed them to.
Pave the way for all their other innovations.
Wow, that's a powerful example.
It is.
Sounds like mastering prioritization is key.
It really is.
But what about multitasking? Isn't that a valuable skill these days?
Actually, Keller argues that multitasking is more of a myth than a skill.
Really?
Our brains aren't wired to effectively juggle multiple tasks at once. We end up switching back and forth, losing time and focus.
So those of us who pride ourselves on our juggling abilities
Might actually be hindering our productivity.
That's kind of a bummer.
But research shows that multitasking leads to more mistakes,
Okay, that's not good.
poorer decisions, and even increased stress levels.
Yikes. That's definitely not what we're aiming for. So if multitasking is out, does that mean we need to become super disciplined to achieve success?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
Keller challenges the idea that we need to be disciplined in every aspect of our lives.
okay, that's good to hear.
He emphasizes the power of developing the right habits,
Habits.
like training our minds through consistent actions.
Instead of forcing ourselves into rigid routines.
Exactly.
Give me an example.
He uses the example of Michael Phelps.
The Olympic swimmer.
Yes. Phelps wasn't born with superhuman discipline.
Right.
His incredible focus was cultivated through years of building the right habits.
So it's about consistently showing up and putting in the work.
Exactly.
Okay, so habits over willpower. I like that. But what about those moments when we need that extra push to overcome a challenge?
Right.
Can we just tap into willpower on demand?
That's another myth Keller debunks.
He does.
He argues that willpower is a limited resource, much like a muscle that gets tired with use.
Okay, I see.
Remember that famous marshmallow test?
The one where kids were given the choice between 1 marshmallow now or 2 later.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It turns out that those who could delay gratification, who had stronger willpower, were more successful later in life.
So patience really is a virtue.
It is.
But how do we build that willpower muscle?
Well, it's not about being weak-willed.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how willpower works
Okay.
and managing it strategically.
So what in the willpower?
Factors like decision fatigue,
Right.
blood sugar levels,
Okay.
and even sleep deprivation.
Makes sense.
All those can impact our willpower reserves.
So self-care is key.
Absolutely.
It's not just about pushing harder, but about taking care of ourselves.
So we can show up fully.
Makes sense. But what about that elusive work-life balance we're all striving for?
Right.
Doesn't that play a role in success?
That's another deeply ingrained belief that Keller challenges. He argues that the quest for a perfectly balanced life can actually set us up for failure.
Why is that?
He uses the analogy of juggling.
Juggling.
Some balls are made of glass, representing those essential aspects of our lives that require careful handling.
I see.
Others are made of rubber, those things that can bounce back if we drop them occasionally.
So it's not about giving equal attention to everything,
Nope.
but about recognizing which areas need our primary focus.
Right.
And which ones can handle a little more flexibility.
Exactly. It's about finding a rhythm that works for you, not striving for some unattainable ideal that leaves you feeling constantly overwhelmed.
This is a refreshing perspective. So we've debunked multitasking, challenged the need for constant discipline, and redefined work-life balance. What other lies does Keller expose?
He tackles the fear of thinking big.
Thinking big.
Yeah, the idea that big goals are inherently bad or overwhelming.
Oh, okay.
He argues that it's actually small thinking that limits us.
So instead of playing it safe and settling for mediocrity, we should embrace those ambitious dreams that light us up.
Exactly.
I like that.
He shares inspiring stories of people who achieved remarkable things by thinking big,
Like,
like Walt Disney
okay,
and the founder of Hotmail.
they thought big.
They didn't shy away from those audacious goals
They saw them
as opportunities for growth and innovation.
Now, that's what I call motivational.
Right.
But how do we translate those big dreams into concrete actions? It's easy to get lost in the excitement and then feel paralyzed by the sheer scale of it all.
I know what you mean. That's where Keller introduces a powerful tool.
Okay, what is it?
The focusing question.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is this magical question that unlocks success?
It's simple, yet profound.
Right, let's hear it.
What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary?
Wow, that really cuts to the chase.
It does.
It's about finding that domino that, when toppled, sets off a chain reaction of positive outcomes.
Yeah.
But how do we apply this question in our daily lives? It sounds a bit abstract.
It can. Keller provides practical guidance
Like?
on how to use the focusing question to clarify both big picture goals and smaller daily tasks.
So it has broad applications.
Yes. It's about breaking those overwhelming objectives down into manageable steps.
I like that.
Identifying the most impactful action you can take right now.
So it's not just a one-time question,
It's not.
but a tool we can use continuously to stay focused and make progress.
Absolutely.
I love that.
He even encourages us to turn it into a daily habit, what he calls the success habit.
By consistently asking this question,
We can ensure we're always prioritizing what matters most.
this is really starting to resonate with me. It's all about finding that laser focus amidst the chaos and distractions of everyday life. Welcome back to the Number 7 podcast channel. We're digging deeper into Gary Keller's The One Thing. That roadmap to achieving those extraordinary results.
Right, by zeroing in on what truly matters.
And last time, we were talking about the focusing question.
Yeah, that tool for pinpointing those pivotal actions. The ones that can lead to a cascade of positive outcomes.
It's like finding that one domino that can topple a whole stack.
Exactly.
But asking the right questions is just the first step, right?
Absolutely.
So how do we translate that intention into tangible action?
Yeah, how do we actually live with that laser focus?
It's tougher than it sounds.
It is. That's where chapter 13 comes in.
What's chapter 13 about?
It's called Live with Purpose.
Purpose.
Keller reminds us that it all starts with a strong why.
I like that.
He uses the classic tale of Ebenezer Scrooge to illustrate this point.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
From A Christmas Carol?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how Scrooge transformed from that miserly, isolated man into someone who found joy in connecting with others and making a difference?
The power of a Christmas miracle.
It is a great story.
But how does this relate to finding our one thing?
It highlights the transformative power of purpose.
Our purpose.
Scrooge went from being consumed by money to finding fulfillment in using his wealth for good.
I see.
When we have a clear purpose, it fuels our actions
Okay.
and gives us the motivation to persevere through challenges.
So finding our purpose is like discovering our inner compass.
Exactly.
It guides our decisions and keeps us on track even when things get tough.
That's a great analogy. It's about understanding what truly matters to us.
Right.
And aligning our actions with that deep-seated why.
So what's next? We have the purpose.
Then the next step is figuring out how to prioritize the actions that will get you there.
Okay, so purpose leads to priority.
It does.
What does Keller suggest we do to identify those key actions that will move us closer to our goals?
Chapter 14.
And chapter 14 is
Live by priority.
live by priority.
It emphasizes the importance of focusing on one key priority at a time.
So it's about resisting the urge to juggle multiple tasks.
Yes, and instead channeling your energy into that one crucial action.
The one that will have the greatest impact.
Exactly.
So it's about being intentional with our time and energy, not letting distractions derail us from what truly matters.
Right.
But how do we actually implement this in our daily lives? It's so easy to get overwhelmed by our to-do lists.
It is. Keller recommends using the focusing question
Right.
to narrow down your options and then blocking out dedicated time for that top priority task.
Oh, so he calls this time blocking.
Exactly. It's all about creating a schedule that reflects your priorities.
So it's about being proactive with our time, scheduling in those important tasks instead of letting them get squeezed out by, the tyranny of the urgent.
Precisely.
So chapter 15
Live for productivity.
dives even deeper into this concept.
It does. Keller argues that productivity isn't about working longer hours, but about maximizing the effectiveness of the time we have.
I am all about working smarter, not harder.
Me too.
So time blocking is key. But what other strategies does he suggest for boosting our productivity?
He emphasizes understanding our own energy patterns,
Energy patterns.
aligning our most challenging tasks with those times when we're feeling most alert and focused.
Makes sense. So are you a morning person or a night owl?
Definitely a morning person. What about you?
Oh, I'm definitely a night owl.
Well, the key is to capitalize on those peak energy periods, for maximum output.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about working with our natural rhythms instead of fighting against them.
I agree.
What about those of us who struggle with procrastination?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Any tips for overcoming that productivity killer?
Keller recommends creating a sense of urgency
Reverting.
by setting deadlines, even if they're self-imposed.
Okay.
He also suggests breaking down large, overwhelming tasks. Smaller, more manageable chunks.
So it feels less daunting.
Exactly.
So it's about outsmarting our own brains.
It is.
Creating structures and strategies that help us stay on track.
I like that. What about external distractions?
Oh, yeah, those are the worst.
How do we deal with those inevitable interruptions that can derail our focus?
Because they're everywhere.
Keller advises minimizing distractions as much as possible.
Okay, how?
Turn off notifications.
Right.
Put your phone on silent.
Okay.
Create a dedicated workspace that's free from clutter and interruptions.
I need to work on that last one. My desk is a constant battle zone.
I hear that.
But seriously, it sounds like it's all about creating an environment that supports our productivity.
Exactly.
So we've established that foundation of purpose, priority, and productivity.
Right.
Now what?
Now, Keller introduces the 3 commitments in Chapter 16.
The 3 commitments.
They are essential mindsets for achieving extraordinary results.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are these commitments that separate the high achievers from the rest?
The first is a commitment to mastery.
Mastery.
It's about striving to become the best at your one thing, dedicating yourself to the journey of continuous improvement.
So it's not about being perfect right away, but about embracing the process of learning and growing.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's about developing a growth mindset.
So believing that.
You can always improve with effort and dedication.
What's the second commitment?
The second commitment is to constantly seek better ways of doing things.
So it's not about getting stuck in a rut,
Right.
but about being open to new ideas
Yeah.
and experimenting with different approaches.
Exactly.
I like that. It's about challenging the status quo,
Okay.
always looking for ways to optimize your process.
And the third commitment,
Accountability.
accountability.
It's about taking ownership of your outcomes, both the successes and the setbacks.
So no more blaming external factors for our lack of progress.
Right. It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our own results.
That's empowering.
He even suggests finding an accountability partner,
Oh, like a friend.
someone who can support us in staying on track.
And achieving our goals.
Having that external support can definitely make a difference.
It can.
But what about those internal roadblocks we all face?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The doubts, the fears, the procrastination demons.
Oh, I know it well.
How do we overcome those and stay focused on our one thing?
That's where Chapter 17 comes in.
What's Chapter 17 called?
The Four Thieves.
The Four Thieves.
Keller identifies 4 major obstacles that steal our time, energy, and productivity.
Okay, I'm ready to fight off these thieves. What are they?
The first thief is the inability to say no.
I am so guilty of that.
We often feel obligated to say yes to every request, but this can lead to overwhelm.
And a diluted focus.
Right.
So it's about setting boundaries.
And being selective with our commitments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember that every yes to one thing is a no to something else.
I like that. What's the second thief?
The fear of chaos.
The fear of chaos.
As we focus on our one thing, other areas of our lives may feel a bit neglected. Oh yeah, I could definitely relate to that. My inbox is currently overflowing, but I'm determined to finish this project first.
I hear that. It's a common struggle. But Keller encourages us to embrace that temporary messiness.
Okay.
It's a natural byproduct of prioritizing.
What's the third thief?
Poor health habits.
Oh, right. Like lack of sleep.
Yeah, inadequate nutrition and insufficient exercise.
Right. All those things can sabotage your productivity.
They can.
You are what you eat.
Right.
Exactly. So self-care isn't selfish.
It's not.
It's essential for success.
It is. It's about investing in our well-being.
No, yeah.
So we have the energy and focus to tackle our goals.
What's the last thief?
An unsupportive environment.
An unsupportive environment.
Yeah, this refers to the people and places that don't align with our goals.
So it's about surrounding ourselves with people who inspire and motivate us.
Exactly.
And creating spaces that foster focus and creativity.
Absolutely. It's about building an ecosystem that supports our journey.
Our journey toward achieving our one thing.
Right.
This is such valuable advice. It sounds like success isn't just about individual effort, but about cultivating a supportive environment, one that empowers us to thrive.
That's a great point.
Welcome back to the Number 7 podcast channel. We've been on quite a journey with Gary Keller's The One Thing.
It's a really great guide to achieving extraordinary results.
By focusing on what truly matters.
Absolutely. We've talked about so much already.
We've debunked those success myths. We've uncovered the power of purpose and priority.
And we've even learned how to maximize our productivity.
All by focusing on that one thing.
The one that will make everything else easier or unnecessary.
It's been a treasure trove of advice.
It really has.
And so many inspiring insights.
Keller has a lot to share.
But before we wrap up, let's delve into the final chapter.
Okay.
Chapter 20.
Where it all comes together.
Where Keller brings it all together.
He reminds us of the core message.
The core message of the book.
He reiterates that focusing on one thing at a time is the key.
The key to unlocking extraordinary results.
Yes.
It's about finding that domino.
The one that sets off a chain reaction of success.
Like that ripple effect, right?
In a pond.
Yeah, when we toss in a pebble.
Exactly.
One small action can create waves of impact.
It really can. And Keller encourages us to identify our own one thing.
That crucial task or goal that will have the greatest impact on our lives.
And to start taking action today.
So it's not enough to just dream big and make plans.
It's not.
We need to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
We do.
What are some key takeaways we can implement right away?
To start living the one thing philosophy.
Yeah, to put it all into practice.
He stresses the importance of asking ourselves powerful questions.
Because
He says the quality of our lives is often determined by the quality of the questions we ask.
So instead of getting bogged down by limiting beliefs,
Or self-doubt.
we should be asking ourselves empowering questions.
The ones that propel us forward.
Exactly.
Like what?
What's the one thing I can do right now to move closer to my goal?
Or
What's the one thing I can do today to make a positive impact on my life?
exactly. It's about shifting our focus
From what's holding us back
to what's possible.
to those actions we can take right now.
To create the life we want.
I love that.
That's the essence of the one thing.
Taking ownership,
Of our lives, our goals, and our actions.
aligning our purpose, priorities, and productivity.
To achieve extraordinary results.
This has been an incredibly insightful journey.
It has.
I'm already feeling inspired to implement these principles in my own life.
That's great.
And speaking of putting it all into practice,
What do we do now?
everyone listening should take some time to reflect
On what resonated with you most.
and to identify your own one thing,
Yes. What's that one goal for you?
that one task, or that one habit you want to focus on.
The one that will create a ripple effect of positive change in your life.
Write it down
Create a plan.
and take that first step today.
Mm.
As Gary Keller says,
The world makes way for those who know where they're going.
clarity of purpose
Yeah.
and focused action can truly make all the difference. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the one thing.
We hope you found it valuable.
and are excited to put these principles into practice.
And don't forget
To like, share, and subscribe to the Number 7 podcast channel.
for more insightful content like this.
We appreciate your support and look forward to connecting with you again soon. Until then, keep chasing those dreams
Stay focused on your one thing.
and keep making those ripples.